Look at him, he's heading for that small moon.
I think I can get him before he gets there. He's almost in range.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
Hi everybody, I'm Aries K, and I'm your host for DimensionsTV. The first topic, which we're going to talk about, I have read this book right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's called Alien Agenda by Jim Marrs, investigating the extraterrestrial presence among us. Just check it out. Anyway, the first topic I'm going to be talking about, our first episode, is actually the first chapter of this book, and it really intrigued me. It's called the Spaceship Moon Theory. Alright? Now, what is the Spaceship Moon Theory? Okay, well, first, let's talk about the moon. I mean, what's so fascinating about the moon? It looks cool, when it's full, it's like huge. It's really bright, it lights up the night, the night sky. It circulates air and heat, wind across the planet. It helps the ocean tides so the oceans don't get stagnant and just rot. It has its purpose. People used to farm or grow their crops or whatever, based on the phases of the moon. But what is the moon? What's its deal? It's up there, and we take it for granted that it's up there. But how did it come to be up there? Back before the Apollo missions and everything, scientists have always wondered what's up with the moon, So finally, between 1969 and 1972, we sent, there was 6 visits by U.S. astronauts that went up there. And, people thought, okay, after these 6 visits, we would find out everything about the moon that, we should know. One mystery is the moon is far older than previously imagined, perhaps even much more older than the Earth and Sun. Alright? Now, scientists, they've brought back tons of rocks and soil samples and everything. And some of the rocks, the lunar rocks that they've brought back, they were dated almost like 1 billion years older than our planet Earth. Okay? Now, the moon, the surface, there's 3 distinct layers of rock on the moon, okay? On the Earth, you got your soft dirt and everything, and as you go deeper into the Earth, you get in the crust, and it starts getting harder. Now with the moon, the most dense layer, the most hardest layer is on the outside. Of the surface. It's on the surface. Usually you would think that stuff that's so hard and dense and everything, it would sink into the ground, but not necessarily the moon. There's titanium on the surface of the moon and other refractory elements. And these elements are known to be produced within a planet. They're made inside a planet. But for some reason, in great quantities, these elements are outpoured onto the surface of the moon. All like a shell. The moon is extremely dry. If you look at it, it's arid. They say there's no water. But a wind of water crossed the moon's surface. Now, they had some things detect this. It's like about 100 feet or something. It's just flowing across the surface of the moon. It's dry. The moon is dry. You know, there's not even any trace elements on the rocks or the dirt or, you know, the soil. Okay. Plus there were vapor clouds of, you know, vapor. So they're saying, okay, so maybe there's water inside the moon. Okay. Moon rocks. The moon rocks are magnetized. And this is another anomaly because there's no magnetic field on the moon, you know. The presence of Maria or molten lava. There's Maria or molten lava is like a vast outpouring of it all over the surface of the moon. Now you can tell it because when you look at the moon, it's all black, you know, like the black seas of it. Now that's like lava, you know, but they're saying the moon has been cool for billions of years, that there's no there can't be any volcanic activity. So how did this molten lava stuff is outpoured all over the surface of the moon, and which 4/5 of all this lava is facing the Earth? Moonquakes and gaseous eruptions like reddish glows, you know, flames or something, are usually seen on the moon when the moon passes closest to Earth. Among all this stuff, they speculate that the moon may be hollow. The moon has little or no core at all whatsoever. Okay, in 1969, when Apollo 12 sent the lunar module crashing onto the moon reverberated like a bell for more than an hour. Okay? It's as though if somebody had struck a bell. Bong! Or gong! Bong! Bong! Gong! Bong! Gong! And, okay, then on the Apollo 13th, the mission of the Apollo 13, on its third stage, the lunar module was again sent down crashing onto the surface, striking with equivalent to 11 tons of TNT, reacting like a gong. Gong, bong, gong going on. No bong. No bong around here, at least I think. Okay. The moon's outer shell contains titanium as well as mica and fibuli, including rust-proof iron particles. Rust-proof iron particles. Now, they say that is unknown to nature and beyond present Earth's technology. Rust-proof iron particles. All right. Theories. Okay. The moon broke off the Earth like eons ago. You know, just... But that theory fell through because there's, as we said, there's little similarities between the moon and Earth. So, you know, like, there's just none. The Earth was created, there was like a little bit of debris left over, and the moon was created from that, you know. But that fell through too, because the gravitational theory indicating one large object will accumulate all loose material, leaving none for the formation of another large body. Now, okay, so now it's accepted, the theory that's accepted is that the moon originated from elsewhere, you know, and entered Earth's gravitational field at some distant past, all right? Now, they're speculating on how this happened, okay? Maybe the moon was a planet that collided with Earth and just somehow stayed in our gravitational field, you know? Or while the moon was, you know, wandering through the cosmos, you know, it just happened to get caught through our gravitational field, you know, on the Earth. You know, just decided to stay. But, you know, that fell through because there's like no debris left over in space, you know, And plus, it doesn't appear that the Earth and the moon are of the same time period. Remember the 1 billion years difference? And, as our good buddy Isaac Asimov quotes, it's too big to be captured by the Earth. The moon has an almost circular, perfect circular orbit around our planet. And plus, one side always faces us, like it's watching us, you know? Like, I can see you, even in the middle of the night, you know. Now, another thing, the moon's center of mass is a mile closer to the Earth than its geometric center, okay? Its absolute center. Its center of mass is a little bit closer to Earth, you know, so it would have like a wobbly effect, you know, because it's really off its, you know, off its center. So it would have, no, it's perfect, you know. The moon has a perfect, like it's flying around us. Okay, another thing. All right, now, the moon, the Earth sits on its axis and is at a 23.5 degree angle, okay? And when it revolves at an angle, that 20, okay, so really the moon should be going around that, but it's not. It's, while the Earth is going at its angle, the moon goes around this way. Just like the Earth goes around the sun, the moon goes around the Earth. Not this way, but like that way. It's like it's making itself go around this way. Okay. The moon has a bulge on the other side facing away. And that bulge would make it wobbly, a wobbly sort of orbit, you know. But it's not. It's, as I say again, perfect. Almost perfect. The moon, you know, during the eclipse, perfectly fits to block out the sun. You know, the moon perfectly fits and blocks out everything of the sun except for the sun's corona. You know, the fiery corona. I mean, how could that be? That's just almost too perfect. Now, we're going to talk about the Spaceship Moon Theory now, okay? Now, in light of everything that we've talked about, there's these two scientists. In 1970, they wrote an article that came out in the Soviet journal Sputnik, and by scientists Michael Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov, advancing the Spaceship Moon Theory. Now I'm going to read this, okay? All right. Spaceship Moon Theory. They claim the moon is not a completely natural world, but a planetoid that was completely hollowed out eons ago in the far reaches of space by intelligent beings possessing technology far superior to ours. Huge machines were used to melt rock and form large cavities within the moon, spewing the molten refuse onto the surface. Protected by a hull-like inner shell, plus a reconstructed outer shell of metallic rocky junk, this gigantic craft was steered through the cosmos and finally parked in the orbit around the Earth. Though it may sound like a fantasy, the more they delved into the information about the moon produced at the time, the more they were convinced that there was not a single fact to rule out their supposition. Plus many more Plus, many more enigmas were answered in light of this new hypothesis. All right. Scientist and author Don Wilson wrote, "Scientists themselves are continuing to uncover bewildering and baffling scientific facts that indicate the moon is not what it seems, but a world that may not be entirely natural." This explains why the moon gives evidence appearing to be much more older than the Earth and solar system. Explains why there are 3 distinct layers, with the outer layer made up of most dense materials, creating a hull-like surface found on spaceships. You know, protective outer shell. Explains why there is no sign of water on the surface, but evidence of it exists deep inside the moon. Okay? Explains why there was magnetism found in the moon rocks. They were magnetized passing the planets and the suns while traveling through the cosmos. The strange Maria or moon seas are dumping grounds for the molten lava that was blasted from the moon's interior. Okay, they blasted all that, excavated all out, all the titanium and all that hard element stuff, and they spewed it out all over the surface to make it, and it hardened. The reported moonquakes are the result of the artificial interior reacting to the stress of the Earth's gravitational pull. Artificial equipment within the moon's interior could explain the gas clouds that were observed. All right. Gives evidence that the moon was once a solid body that had been artificially hollowed out at some point. An artificially hollowed out moon would ring like a bell for hours when struck by passing by objects. Bong! Gong! For long time. Why tough metals such as titanium, chromium, zirconium, and rust-proof iron, uranium-236, and neptunium-237 were found there. And finally would explain the origin and amazing orbit of the moon. Not this way. This way. You know, like this way, not this way. Alright. So, well, that's it for tonight. And I hope to see you next time. I hope there is a next time. Until then, you know, keep your eyes to the sky. This is Aries K saying good night.
People in the know to discourage public participation, media participation, to discredit the whole area. And that seems to have been true for at least 50 years. And also the very existence of an extraterrestrial presence or an extraterrestrial existence went against the conventional science of 30 or 40 years ago. Even when I went to the moon almost 30 years ago now. It was the conventional wisdom, both in science and theology, that we were alone in the universe. And I don't think people really believe that anymore, but that was a conventional wisdom.